What's up, ladies? What's up to all the stepmoms who won't step up? What's up, ladies? How y'all doing? It is your diva and knowledge lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Ladies Lounge. Again, I appreciate all of you for making the initiative, taking the initiative, I should say, for looking for guidance as far as finding a more positive way, or at least a more effective way of dealing with your husband, your fiance, your man's toxic baby mama. So keep in mind, I'm proud of you for taking the initiative to say, you know what, I need help with this. I tried to deal with this on my own. I need a support group. I need somebody that can give me some type of guidance, some type of reference, because I am way in over my head. I am losing my sanity dealing with this crazy broad. I want to throw the towel because my husband's not getting it, because he's so focused on trying to make sure he doesn't rub her the wrong way, even though it's causing us to be disrespected, in order for him to have a connection with his child. So trust and believe, I totally get it. And this is the reason why I'm very passionate about doing this. I wish more women on YouTube spoke on this type of issue, because there's a lot of women that are struggling and having challenges with this type of the situation. So make no further ado, I am here to help you as much as possible. My goal is to help you to find more tactical solutions, solutions that are not going to drain you, but it's basically going to give you peace, or it's basically going to give you clarity. Because let's face it, it's hard, again, and I'll always say this, it's hard being the bigger woman when you're dealing with a bitter woman, and that is just the truth of the matter. So keep in mind, listen, don't get upset because all the tactics and strategies that I give you don't seem to be working, because again, it's going to take time. And again, you have to realize you probably have created a pattern. You probably have created a mayhem, a mountain out of a molehill. So it's going to take some time to untangle the knots. It's going to take some time to try to restore all the damage that has been done. But the key to this is consistency and maturity. You're going to have both, ladies. Other than that, none of this advice or wisdom that I'm sharing with you is going to be effective. You have to have those things. And trust is the next factor. And definitely having a connection with God, because let me tell you something, some things are just way too deep, beyond our comprehension of understanding. So it's very imperative that you also have spiritual discernment, and being able to have a connection with God. That way he gives you spiritual insight on what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. So it's very imperative that you have those things. So the first initial video, the first content that I put, part one, the introductory, was just to give you a brief insight, a brief summary on what is to come with the Why the Stepmothers Won't Step Up webinar that I am introducing y'all to, that I am warming y'all up for. So it was basically like a brief warm up. So my goal is to basically do a pre-recorded session, which is what I am doing now. This is what you're listening to at this moment. This is something that I've already done. I pre-recorded it and then I upload it on the YouTube. So my goal is to do pre-recorded sessions and to follow the pre-recorded sessions with live stream sessions in an event. You ladies have additional questions, or you may need more clarity on some of the things or the elements that I have discussed in each series that I plan on doing throughout this duration of the Why Stepmothers Won't Step Up webinar. So I think it's only fair. I don't want to just cheat everybody and just keep giving them pre-recorded sessions where you're not able to really ask questions or, you know, interject. Sometimes we need that 101. We need that extra we need extra information that sometimes we can't always get from pre-recorded sessions. So trust and believe, I get it. Only thing that I ask ladies is that you please support the movement. I really want to help y'all. I want to build y'all. I want to uplift y'all. I want to encourage y'all. I want a lot of my wives out there, fiancés, girlfriends that's dealing with toxic baby mama drama. I want to broaden y'all horizons and give y'all a whole nother way of dealing with the issues you've been dealing with, but at the same time realize this is time that I'm putting into this. So please sow into the congregation, tithe into the congregation. Look out for me. I don't care if it's $2, $5. Look out. You know, this is not easy to do. And I realize when it comes to YouTube, a lot of us, we only want to support the ones that are popular, that are well known. We're giving all of, you know, we're supporting them, you know, because they seem to uh be receiving the most attention. You know, their platform has more popularity, so I get it. A lot of these content creators, they do things that are very entertaining, but let's try to look out for the struggle platform creators such as myself that is actually giving information, giving advice that is useful, that is edifying. So any little bit of donation helps, because eventually I want to write a book on this. There's other things I want to do in regards to this. I want to start traveling and doing um, live, you know, conferences pertaining to these type of issues, where I can start meeting with some of you ladies. We travel together. We go on cruises together. We do things that actually, you know, get us to a new place in life where we can start a new chapter. You get what I'm saying? So just tithe into the congregation, okay? Cash at me $2, $5, whatever the Lord puts in your spirit. More is better, but guess what? Beggars cannot be choosy, honey. So I will take my $2 donation, and I will be just as happy as if I had hit the mega million lotto. Okay, so it is what it is. But let me get into this part two. Um, the series of Why Stepmoms Won't Step Up. And this series is pertaining to part two, of course. Part two pertaining to communication with your significant other. How do you communicate with your man? This is very imperative. It sounds simple, but it's very imperative. Realize, evidently, there was something about this man you loved, you cared about, where in which you were willing to overlook his situation, or willing to not overlook, but accept his situation, regardless of how dysfunctional it was. Because the truth of the matter is, you knew what you were signing up for when you got with this man, okay? You knew Shakika was off the chain. You knew his baby mama, Shanita, was off the chain, okay? You seen the red flags. Um, you seen how when his daughter or his son, his kids would come over, you know, how she would be very disrespectful, barely even speak to you, pull up in your driveway, drop her kids off like they donations at the Goodwill, and pull out the driveway and won't even wave, speak, acknowledge your presence. But yet, you know, she has the audacity to leave her children there and not even show you the slightest bit of respect. However, because you are with her baby daddy and that's your man, um, you are in a tough position in which you cannot show the children that you're feeling some type of way about their mother, but at the same time, you also want to not give your husband or your man the indication that you're feeling some type of way about his kids when it's really not the kids, it is the woman, the toxic baby mama who he has had those children with. That makes it a very uncomfortable position. So moving right along, I want us to go more into how you communicate with your man, how you communicate with your husband. For one, it's very imperative that when a man and a woman come together, and I ain't talking about your boyfriend, just a man who comes over to kick it with you every once in a while. He wears out your sofa and wears out the buttons to your Netflix remote control. I'm talking about a real solid relationship. Y'all are y'all are married, or y'all have made a verbal agreement to commit to one another. I'm talking about a real relationship. That's the first and foremost thing. You both have to have a real relationship. With that being said, in order to have uh, an effective relationship, it's very important that you and your man know how to communicate with each other. Communication is the key. Communication is the foundation of having um, an effective relationship. Even if the baby mama is toxic, even if she's raising the children to be toxic, if you and your man are on the same accord, y'all will still be able to weather the storm no matter how many tricks and daggers toxic baby mama tries to throw at you. But if you and your man are struggling with communication issues, in other words, if you are with the man who's stubborn, if you are with the man who loves to give the silent treatment. He doesn't care to reiterate or talk about things that are uncomfortable. You do have some men who don't like to deal with issues. Their way of dealing with issues is by not dealing with it. You have to really understand the language of your man. All men speak a different language. What works for my husband may not work for your husband, and what works for your husband may not work for mine, vice versa. For instance, I'm able to communicate with my husband. If I don't like something, if I feel some type of way, I'm able to express it to him with I would not lie and say it's always been like that, but I'm at a place now where I'm able to express myself to him and not have to feel like, is he going to feel some type of way if I say something about what his baby mama did? Is he going to feel some type of way if I say that, why did she drop your kids off with dirty clothes and their hair ain't done? Is he going to get offensive every time I have an issue, or every time I'm feeling some type of way about something when it comes to his baby mama and his kids? Um, you have some men that just don't like to be told what to do when it comes to how they handle the mother of their child. Even if they know the mother of their child is being disrespectful, she ghetto, she ignorant. And if you have one of those type of men that are very dogmatic, um they're so controlling to the point where your opinion doesn't matter, your feelings doesn't matter, then I'm just going to be honest and flat out say that this webinar is not going to work for you. Because in order for both of you to be able to reach a place in which the toxic baby mama does not have control over him, or does not have control over how y'all run things when it comes to y'all household, y'all marriage, and having a balance with the children in the process of it, um, then that's going to be a problem. So the first thing as a woman is you have to be honest with what kind of man are you dealing with. Is he a man that respects your opinion? Does he respect your feelings? Or is he one of those type of dudes where I want to see my kids? So regardless, yeah, I know she mean. Yeah, I know my baby mama is a bitch. Yeah, I know my baby mama is disrespectful. But I want to see my child no matter what. If you have one of those men that reason with these type of situations like that, like this, and it's way beyond um unbearable, and he's had 1,000 red flags, and his toxic baby mama has done several things to up the ante and he's still oblivious, well, it is what it is. That's just the way she is. Or my favorite line, I ain't got nothing to do with how she is. I used to hate when my husband used to say that. I got nothing to do with how she is. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Now, you may not have no control over how she is, but at the same token, just because um you feel you have learned how to condition yourself to her toxic ass ways, to your toxic baby mama ways, that don't mean I have to condition myself to those ways. Just because you have made yourself complacent and comfortable with the way she disrespects you, the way she disrespects me, the way she disrespects my house, or the way she uses the kids to disrespect us, then that's on you. But you're not going to force me to adjust to the chaos, because you have some men are piss poor communicators. Some men are piss poor communicators. You have some men who will come home and not even ask you how your day was. He'll come in the house, take off his shoes, take off his work coat, his hard hat, and go directly to his living room and sit down and flop on the couch and air out his funky feet and ask you, did you cook today? What you make? What you cook to eat? Did you cook dinner? That's all his concern is. He doesn't ask you about you, how your day is, how your day has been, or when you ask him, he doesn't give you no real input. It's all right. It's all right. If you already have if you already have stale communication with your significant other, this webinar is not going to work. I cannot stress this more than enough. You have a stubborn man, controlling man. Hell, truth be told, some of these men are just as toxic as their baby mamas if you really observe and pay attention. You look at his behavior and look out how nonchalant he is and how oblivious he is to the toxic baby mama drama, then it may you may want to reconsider, well, hell, maybe that's how they ended up together. He just as toxic and ignorant as her. I mean, let's face it, they did have a child together. So he chose this woman. Why? Is it because he's toxic like her? Is it because he's chaotic like her? These are some things you might want to think about. And I know it cuts deep like a knife, but in many cases, what a man chooses as his woman says a whole lot about him as a man. A lot of times you got to look at these dudes' track records. And if they got 3, 4 baby mamas and all of them crazy, I don't know, sis. You might want to think deep before you leap. All 3, 4 of his baby mamas got issues, or he could have just been without one. But if he'd been without one for a substantial amount of years and he never had enough sense to leave her, she was the one who left him, you might want to think. This is something to think about. A lot of the times you draw what you are. You know what I'm saying? And in some cases, you just got men who have just made bad judgment in women. I mean, women, we have done it. We have made poor choices in men. Didn't define who we were as a woman, but just the fact that we made a bad choice during that time and season. Maybe that was a season of weakness when we chose a certain person when we wasn't at our best. And sometimes when you are in a dark place, you will pick up anybody. So at the same time, you can't ridicule a man and beat him down for the decisions that he has made also. But if he's made that decision continuously, it's been several women. I don't know, sis. You just have to be a very patient woman. Sometimes people got to go through it 6, 7 times around the block by the time they figure it out. If so, sister, bless your heart. But honestly, this communication is very important. You cannot. It's hard. The situation is already a challenge within itself. Um, whether you want to be a stepmother, you are a stepmother. Even if those children never come to your house, even if you see them once a year, they're not going to disappear. Even if you move to another state or another country, at some given point, he's going to have to communicate with his children. He's going to have to communicate with the toxic baby mama of those children. It's not going to go away. So as much as we want to ignore it, and you may be one of those stepmothers, you're lucky where you don't have to encounter it on a daily basis. There's going to come a point where you're going to have to. And then there's other women who have to deal with it on a daily basis. The kids actually live with them. The father actually has full custody of the children. So it's even more complex in that sense, because these kids are in your life. It's a daily challenge because they actually live with you, and you have to parent them in that sense. There's no way around it. That's another thing I'm going to have to make sure I discuss that at some point too. So when we talk about this communication thing, if he's not a good communicator, you're not going to make it. This is going to be an epic fail. That toxic baby mama is going to overrule everything if you and him don't have effective communication skills. Another thing that has to be taken in consideration when it comes to communication, um, you also have to keep in mind, it's not always going to be about what you want. Even though you may see a lot of things out of line, you may see um, issues regarding the situation. For instance, you may see that the toxic baby mama is always moving from house to house. You may see that the toxic baby mama can never keep a job. She's unstable. The toxic baby mama has different men, um, different boyfriends every other couple of months, and things like this make it very uncomfortable for your husband. And he may not voice this all the time. And let's keep it in mind too, a lot of times men don't like to voice too many things to us when it comes to their toxic baby mamas, because they already know we can't stand these heifers. Okay, they already know we don't like them. And they already know the moment they come to us and give an opinion, we're going to go all the way in. See, I told you how she was. I told you she's no good. And see, you the one I want to keep trying to work with her, understand her. So a lot of times you have men that fall into that silent man cave, like, I'm not even about to tell my wife, because she's going to rip my head off. She's going to be so glad that she got a one up with the "I told you so" type of thing. So, as a wife, you have to be inviting. That's another issue with communication. You got to be inviting. You can't be so glad that you have proven your case to the point you got to rub it in his face every time, and kick him down and beat him down for it, and say, yeah, I told you that helper was no good. I told you she wasn't this, she wasn't that. So as I was stating, earlier, when I gave that example, for instance, she may be unstable, going from place to place to place and things of that nature, having a new boyfriend every other month or so. You have to realize unexpected situations could very well land in your lap. The toxic baby mama who doesn't have her ish together can very well become a burden on y'all personal lives. Toxic baby mama who's irresponsible, unstable, moving from place to place, she may need you to keep the children frequently each and every time she has to move. Um, she's one of the ones that likes to quit jobs every other month. Things get hard, money tightens up, and she knows her baby daddy is a good man and he's not going to let his children suffer. She may call him every other week. I may need you to keep the kids again for 3-4 days. I lost my job. Guess what? It's going to land in your lap too, because you live with him. You have a relationship together. You need to be prepared for that. And it's very important you understand what type of baby mama he's dealing with. Are you cut out for that? Are you cut out for the fact that this woman never has her stuff together? Because keep in mind, she's a grown-ass woman, like you are a grown-ass woman. And you're not going to be able you, to get around not having to help him with these children if she's trifling. And some of these women have been trifling the majority of their life, and some of them just conveniently decide to get trifling once they see that their baby daddy is happy and he's in a good place, you know. So it all depends. And again, it boils down to communication. Y'all got to be on the same accord. I don't care how much he loves his children. He cannot intrude on you just because his trifling baby mama can't get it together. Again, if he's one of those dudes, he loves his children no matter how trifling his baby mama is, then and he sets no boundaries and no limits or no rules and regulations, that's not a good look, because it's gonna constantly intrude your life. If he's willing to run and offer a helping hand every time she intentionally screws up because he doesn't teach her a lesson and allow her to suffer with the kids from time to time, so she'll stop doing this and stop repeating this. He wants to always be Captain Saving because there's my kids and I don't care what she do. I don't want my kids to suffer. I don't want, look, I get it, but at the same time, I'm suffering because it's taking me out of my element. You know, I got to work too. I got a life too. And it's not fair that every time I come home from work, I got to babysit. I got to step in. I got to be the step up stepmom while she goes to the club, while she runs around and does whatever the hell she wants to live in her best life at my expense. And because you are being a coward, not wanting to put your foot down and nip it in the bud because you are so afraid, you know, she's going to take your kids and use your children to weaponize you. You use them as weapons against you. You're just sitting up there biting the bullet. And in the process of you biting the bullet, I'm getting hit with the bullet. It's not fair to me. Now, if you was by yourself and you didn't have me in your life, then that's different. But you got to take my feelings into consideration. And that's just the bottom line, you know. And I hate to say this, and especially once y'all married, rather people don't want to face this. And a toxic baby mom, she definitely don't want to face it. Once y'all are married, um, believe it or not, you come first. The order is supposed to be of authority: husband, wife, then kids. Once y'all married, his kids no longer come first. And this is the famous line that toxic baby mamas love to say. Well, those kids, my kids was in the picture before you got in the picture. Our kids come first. No, they don't. Once he marries, the wife comes first. Now, does it mean her kids are less important? No. Does it mean her kids are less significant? No. Does it mean that he should do so much for the wife that his kids be deprived? No. But it does mean the wife, her word and her feelings come first. Now, I know the toxic baby mama ain't trying to hear that. Those are fighting words. If a man says my wife come first, those are fighting words. But let the shoe be on the other foot and let them be somebody's wife. Oh, they will want that same type of honoring. But because it's you, and she's afraid that if the man puts you first, that means her kids are going to go last, then she's not going to respect that and she's not going to honor that. Now, it does, again, him putting you first as his wife, it does not mean his children are less significant. It just means that whatever he decides to do for his children, to a certain degree, he has to run it by his wife first. Now, if there's things he wants to do, like buy them extra little clothes or do little things for him on his own, that's where the communication has to come in at. Where's the line in which he comes to you as a wife when he decides to do certain stuff? I mean, comes to you as a husband and he decides to do certain stuff for his wife without crossing any boundaries. But at the same time, as the wife, you can't be so possessive that every little thing he wants to do for his children, you got to be in on it. You both have to have a balance. This is where communication comes in at. Finances. Yeah, it's okay for him to go in the bank account every once in a while if he wants to get little JoJo some shoes and, you know, take little JoJo to get a haircut. But if he's giving her child support consistently and little JoJo is coming around there looking like he's from a third world country, his hair is never cut, he's wearing the same shoes from, you know, 3 middle school years ago, and yet she's driving a brand new Honda Civic, and he's steadily going into y'all account while y'all paying child support to take care of this child. Something needs to be said. Wait a minute now, you paying her $600 a month for child support, and this child, he only comes over here once in a blue moon. Why is he still rocking the same shoes from last year? You mean to tell me he ain't got no other shoes? His hair wasn't cut 3 weeks ago when he was over here. Here it is a whole nother month and his hair still ain't cut. What's up? What's up with that? You're not gonna say nothing to her about it? You just gonna let it be? You have men who like to avoid confrontation, because men, they're different from us. Men do not like to deal with a lot of drama. They don't like a lot of cattiness. They don't like a lot of back and forth. But the this is where communication comes in at. He cannot so much want to avoid conflict that he's willing to compromise. Meaning, he, for instance, if he's giving her child support and he sees that his children are not being taken care of, he wants to avoid the conflict, so he'll compromise. Well, he'll just avoid conflict by stating, okay, well, I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna just go ahead and get his shoes, because I know if I call her, she's gonna have excuses. She just gonna blame it on, she got bills and she got this, she got that. That's not good. Once a man, starts allowing his baby mama to do what she wants to do so he can avoid conflict, what he's not understanding is going to create conflict with you as his wife. So he's not avoiding conflict. Now my thing is, if you're going to go through conflict, it's better to go through it with somebody on the outside of your house versus inside your house, where you got to lay your head and eat and sleep and take a dump. You better off pissing a woman off on the outside than you are pissing off the woman on the inside, who you got to live with, who you have to build the future with, who's helping you pay the bills, who's helping you hold down the fort. So it's very important that you let him know when he wants to go through those moments in which he don't want conflict. Well, let me tell you something. It's causing conflict between me and you, because I'm not happy right now. Right now, you're making her happy because you're allowing her to get away with being irresponsible, and you're not saying anything because you want to avoid conflict, which brings you to the third C again. Men who want to avoid conflict, so they compromise. After a while, it starts making you perceive him as a coward. And this is where the fourth C, communication, again comes in there. It's very important that these things are addressed. It's very important. And guess what? It sounds corny, but sometimes you have to do this. There's nothing wrong with keeping a notebook. And every time the baby mom crosses the line or has done something uncalled for, inappropriate, write it down. I'm telling you, it sounds corny. Write down the date, write down the time. Every time she does something. February 3rd, 2022, she dropped little jewelry off, no haircut, dirty shoes, crusty nose. Document it. When you think you have documented enough of trifling things coming from her, when you actually can have a civil conversation, don't wait till y'all arguing. Don't wait till something funky comes up. Then you want to bring it up. When y'all have a peaceful moment, when, all husband and wives, all men and women, we have our good moments where you can, where it's that time to communicate effectively, because you're in a peaceful place. Maybe y'all out at dinner, maybe y'all at home watching a good movie or whatever, and the mood is right for you to address the issues. That's when you bring out your notebook. I said, you don't think you tolerated and took a lot of disrespect? Well, no, I don't think I really have. I think, things just going the way they are for whatever reason. Okay, well, let me show you how much you don't tolerate it. If you can pull out that paper and show that this woman has done 20 things within 1 month that was disrespectful and he overlooked it. Men are visual. Sometimes you can't just keep telling them, she did this, and then you turn around, she did that, and then you turn around, she did. Sometimes you got to visually write everything down and hand it to them. Look at how much bull crap you don't tolerate it. And it's corny, but I'm telling you, little things like that work. Every time, write it down and then get a little change jar. Put a quarter in it. Every time he's done something, he's allowed something to slide by. And when that change jar fill up and he thinks you're just saving up change, no, I put a quarter in there. Every time you allowed this broad to disrespect you and you sit there and you took it and you didn't man up, you didn't put your foot down. Now, this is not to say I want you to slap her, knock her down, or animate her, but this is a prime example of how much you have allowed her to disrespect you and how much it has become a burden to me. It sounds corny, it sounds childish to do, but don't knock it till you try it. It's very important that y'all have effective communication. Um, Also, as women, it's not always what you say, it's how you say it. Um, if you've already addressed to him that she keeps dropping little JJ and little Kiki off without calling, unannounced, and he doesn't say anything because again, he wants to avoid the conflict, so he compromises. But at the same time, it's creating chaos for you. Then that's when sometimes you have to up the ante. She's allowed to drop him off and he doesn't address it. She doesn't have to call and give y'all the common courtesy to let y'all know that she's going to be dropping them off. He just sits there comfortably and doesn't say anything. While you're up there, you angry, you're upset, you want to blow a fuse, you want to lash out, but you can't afford to do it, or you don't want to do it because the kids are there. You don't want the kids thinking you're feeling some type of way with them. And then at the same time, you don't want no problems with you and him. So you just stand there and let him boil like a lobster in a tank. You just sitting there boiling. And let me tell you something, kids can't say nothing, but they feel your energy. And kids can perceive your energy the wrong way, like you don't like them. But it's not that you don't like them. You don't like the fact of how the baby mama is imposing on you with them. But kids don't understand that. When you get in situations like that, that'll be the time. That'll be the time to call a girlfriend, call somebody, girl, what you doing? I ain't doing nothing, honey. If you ain't doing anything, I'm about to come over. I'm just gonna hang out with you for a couple hours. Let's drink some wine. Let's just chill, whoop-de-woo. Okay, girl, whatever. Leave his ass right there to the house with his kids. Let him keep feeling the funk of that. Don't keep trying to pick up the pace. Don't sit there and suffer in silence when you have addressed this to him and he comfortably keeps sitting there, because a lot of times men don't feel the funk until you leave them in that funk alone and let them feel that funk alone. Sometimes as wives we can become overly dedicated even when we're getting disrespected in the process. Do not dedicate yourself to his foolishness, because yes, at the end of the day, that's your husband, but that's his drama. And even as a wife, you don't have to own his drama. You don't have to participate in it. You don't have to take a part in that. Again, now if you have a controlling husband that's very abusive, you may be afraid to do that. And in that case, I cannot help you. But if you are a woman, for the most part, who gets the majority of your respect, sometimes you have to neglect him in his own chaos. I remember when during the duration of me and my husband's relationship in the initial beginning, his ex-wife used to have a bad habit of always wanting to drop the kids off, especially on the weekends, because she loved to go to the club. She was one of those trifling ones who wanted to run the streets, wanted to go to the club because she just wanted to be free. At the time, she didn't have no man, so she was wilding out, going through her little whole stroll moments, you know, going to the clubs. And because he so badly wanted his children around him, he didn't care if she would just dump them off, because at the end of the day, those were his kids, and he didn't care nothing about what she was doing and not doing. But I gave a damn. I want to know what the hell is she doing so much where she got to keep dropping her kids off and stuff. So nevertheless, again, he wanted to avoid conflict, so he compromised. So I said, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. So I pretty much was able to pinpoint when she would drop them off on the weekends unexpectedly. So what I would start doing was I would make plans myself, even if that meant spending the night to my mother's house, going out having dinner with my girls. I made sure every weekend I had something to do. I made sure I aborted the mission before she would even get the chance to drop them off while I was there. And that's what I did. Um, One weekend, I decided to do it, to kick it at my mom's house for a whole 3-day weekend. And of course, before the kids came, because I didn't want him to think, I didn't like the kids or I was avoiding the children or whatever. So I would just play it off. I would let him know about it way before the kids even came. So it wouldn't look like I would just leave every time the kids came. You get what I'm saying? So I would set the stage and I would prepare the stage and be like, well, I'm gonna go ahead on to my mom this weekend. I'm gonna go see my grandmother in Carolina or whatever. And him not thinking, because men, they don't keep up with stuff. They don't pay attention to things. So he ain't thinking that far ahead, but I'm thinking that far ahead. And most of the time, as women, we always thinking far ahead because we the ones that affected by it the most. He never thought about it because it never affected him like it affected me. You feel me? So I made sure this particular weekend, because this was a 3-day weekend, the kids were gonna be there the whole Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I think they were have a 3-day weekend. So I made sure I set the stage and I was already gone. He had the kids the whole 3 days. When I say he didn't even make it one day, he did not make it one day. You'll be surprised at how much some of these men act like they so crazy about their kids, how they so in love and with their children, and then when you leave them alone, have to do it by themselves, they have zero patience with their own children. But ironically, they want you to have all the patience in the world. And sometimes you got to let them feel the fire. You can't always be there to enable them. You can't always be there because, again, as wives, we feel overly dedicated. So we will participate in things that are becoming a burden to us just to try to keep the peace with them. And when I tell you, he failed the test right off the bat. I'm expecting the kids to be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I called him Saturday morning before I got to breakfast with my mom. I said, okay, how are you and the kids? I'm expecting him to tell me, oh, well, I'm taking them out to go to the park. I'm gonna take them to get some pizza. I didn't hear the kids in the background. I said, what's going on with the kids? They wanted to go be with their aunt. I said, they want to go be with their aunt. Who? Your sister? Yeah, they want to go spend the night to their aunt house. I said, oh, okay. So what you gonna do the weekend? I'm just gonna do fishing. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Blah blah blah. I gave my sister some money for because they want to spend some time with their aunt. Okay. Now, if he thought I was gonna fall for that, I called his sister and I asked her. But I played it off because I know family, they stick together. So it's a certain way you got to ask. I said, what's up, sis? What you doing? Oh, I'm doing all right. I got the kids over here with me. Yeah. So what happened? They wanted to spend the night? Oh no. He dropped them off over here. He asked me if I was doing anything this weekend, and I told him I wasn't. So he said, well, if you can keep the kids for me the rest of the weekend, I'll give you $200. I said, this lying son of a gun. But all this time, he tried to make me feel guilty when I was tired. Listen, y'all. People will be tired of their own kids and have the audacity to get mad when somebody else tired of their own kids. Girls, ladies, let me tell you. As I say, sometimes you got to let them feel the wrath. As long as you are there and you're doing everything, they're not going to feel exactly what you're going through. He could not hang y'all one day. He couldn't even do it the whole other 2 days. And that wasn't only with the kids he had. That was with the daughter we had. I left all three of them on him. I left my child on top of his two daughters, And he couldn't even deal with our own kid. He couldn't deal with none of them. He dropped all of them off, even the one we had together. I'm like, now ain't this you know what, you know? But yes, you have to do whatever you can to preserve your peace. And sometimes um you got to be willing to take a chance, even if it means it's going to create chaos, it's going to create discord, it may even lead into arguments. But sometimes you have to be willing to pull that trigger, and whatever the outcome that comes behind it, you're willing to reap it. But in many cases, things are not going to change if you keep allowing them um, to nest, if you keep allowing the problem to fester. You and your husband got to communicate. Y'all got to set boundaries. Y'all got to set rules. Um, and again, he has to not be a stubborn guy. And in the initial beginning, I'll admit sometimes it takes time, because you got to realize these kids have been in this man's life way before you got there. So you cannot expect him to just go along with what you say right away. It's going to take some time. It may take a couple of years. You have to realize it's been this way before you got in the picture, and it's going to take some time for things to transition, for things to change. But it shouldn't take no 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and a trifling baby mama is still doing what she wants to do, and here it is, the kids are older now. Each and every year, you should be seeing some type of growth, some type of change. You should be seeing him addressing her about things that he normally would not address her about. You should see some type of change where he's coming to you and asking you, okay, do you mind if so and so comes over, versus when he used to just let them come over. You have to see there's some type of change, small change, any type of small improvement. You have to see some progress. If there's not any progress, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, you're wasting your time, and you're gonna have to make a decision. No matter how much you love a man, you have to realize, are you willing to make his happiness more valid than yours, that you're willing to suffer it out in silence. You have some women that really love their husbands, they love their companions so much that they're willing to suffer through it and hope that it'll change and pray that it get better. But in some instances, no matter how much you pray about stuff, how much you hope and wish, some people are just set in their ways. Some people are comfortable with chaos, and you may very well be with a man that's probably comfortable with this chaos. And that's just something you have to be mindful of. You have to pay attention to the red flags. Um, he has to be willing to respect your feelings. He has to respect your feelings, because he's not in this by himself. You are with him on this journey. So it's very important that you are comfortable. Nobody's not going to be 100% happy. And let me tell y'all something, ladies. Believe it or not, the toxic baby mama is just as uncomfortable as you are. No matter how much she tries to act unbothered, she has to get used to the fact that these children are going to be in your life. You know, she has to get used to the fact that whenever she wants to do something, he's going to tell her, well, I got to see how my wife feels. I have to see how my fiance feels. No baby mama wants to hear that, because you got to realize she's used to it just being him and her, and she's used to him just saying, okay, no problem, because before you came along, it was always just him and her. So the dynamics are hard for her too. And trust and believe, we're going to go into that as this series continues out. So everybody is going to have to adjust to their position. The baby mama is going to have to adjust to you being a wife. The husband is going to have to adjust to you, him having to take your feelings into consideration, him having to try to level out the toxic baby mama so he can still have a civilized relationship with his children. It's an adjustment, and you may look up and be one of those women who you may never have to deal with any toxic baby mama drama, because the baby mama, she's happy, she's in a good place, she got her own husband, she's chilled, she's not threatened by you because she has her own happiness. But when you're dealing with a bitter one, um it's not smooth sailing. They're going to constantly be doing things, um poking the bear, and we're going to get into that later, because I don't want us to digress. We're going to do a series on dealing with the toxic baby mama. That's why I said I had to break this up in 6 different parts. You and your man have to be on the same accord. It's just as simple as that. He cannot be an asshole to you. Well, these my kids, I'm gonna do what I want to do. At the same time, you can't just, you know, force so many demands and expect things to change overnight. It's going to take time, and it's going to be a process, but y'all are going to have to come together and set boundaries. It's going to have to be a time and a place for everything. Um, and some things you're not going to know it's a problem until it actually comes up. These toxic baby mamas, once you conquer them with one thing, they're gonna pull something else. So you're never gonna never have it 100% mapped out. But you and your husband have to love each other enough to where you do not allow, you don't, and he does not allow the toxic baby mama to um run your household and run your marriage. Yes, true indeed, those children were there before you got there, but that does not mean she can run your household and run your marriage. She has to follow your rules. We have no problem with the kids coming, but they're going to come every other weekend, not every weekend. You think we don't want our weekends for ourselves too? You think we don't want to do things together? You know what I mean? So you and your husband, your fiance, your man, y'all got to be on the same accord, have an understanding. um Another thing is, the kids don't need to see how y'all struggle with miscommunication. In other words, the kids don't need to see y'all arguing so much or physically fighting or whatever. And it's getting back to his ex, and she's finding out, is being brought to her attention that y'all are constantly at war with each other, and it's because of her. Because some of these toxic baby mamas are so vindictive and malicious. Once they even get a whiff that they're causing chaos in your household, they're going to keep doing it. So you got to put up this united front in front of the kids till they go home, and in front of you just got to handle yourself with use due diligence when you're in the presence of his kids. And if push comes to shove, y'all argue, have a disagreement in front of the children, it's cool, because at the same time, they can also see that just because you have a miscommunication, that does not mean things cannot work itself out. It doesn't mean y'all still can't display love to one another. Yeah, me and your daddy may argue and fight, but at the end of the day, we still love each other. We still here for each other. So that is the part that I wanted to address with you about. I think I may end up doing a part three, um in addition to more communication skills. I want to give you ladies more tactic communication skills when it comes to your addressing your husband about the bitter baby mama, because out it's not always what you say, but it's how you say it. And this series is getting really, it's kind of long, and again, I don't want to put too much into one video because it's easy to what's the word I would like to say, it's easy to lose track, because a lot of times as human beings we got short attention span, and when you force feed us too much all at one time, we can lose track of the main things. So the next series I'm going to do is how to address, how to articulate. It's not always what you say, it's how you say it. You have to learn how to imply things versus demanding things. You have to learn how to sweetly communicate in a concerning manner instead of the dictating, where you're dictating him, you're forcing him. You have to learn how to show more concern, instead of um, you just want to keep pointing out faults. Um, a lot of times men are funny individuals. They can flatline when it just sounds like you demand, 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 demand. You need to do this, you need to do that. Why you need to do that? Why you do that? When you do that, it makes him lose complete focus of, you're not demanding him because you're trying to control him, but you're demanding in a sense as far as you don't want to see him hurt. You don't want to see him be used or taken advantage of. And there's a certain way you have to address your feelings about his toxic baby mama without coming off as a nag, without coming off as a bitch. You got to realize she already a piece of work. It don't make no sense for you to be a piece of work too, where he's in between two women that it's making him miserable. The woman at home is making him miserable, and then the woman outside the home is making him miserable. And in the long run, it's going to affect you more because, again, you got to live with this man. You're married to this man. You're committed to this man. So if he does lash out, you're going to be the one that's going to feel the phone. The toxic baby mama isn't going to feel it because she doesn't live with him. He deals with her in small doses, but you're going to be the one he deals with the majority of the time. So anyway, that's going to be the next series. We're going to try to talk more about how to articulate your issues, how to address the issues without sounding demanding. So I'm kind of indecisive if I'm going to do my live stream in between this content and doing my next one on how to articulate, how to communicate with your husband effectively. So probably what I'll do is I'll probably just wait until after I do the second part, and then I'm going to do a live stream. Now, I am going to give a date on when I'm going to do my live stream. So when you ladies are ready to join me and ask me questions regarding to communication, because we got to stay on one topic at a time. That will not be the time to come in on me and bring up 1,000 things that the baby mama isn't doing or should do, but to ask me questions in reference to how to communicate effectively. So what I'm going to do is, if y'all are plan on partaking in the series, make sure you subscribe. And I'm going to post on my community tab, and you have to look out for that. And the only way you'll get the notifications is you have to subscribe. I'm going to give you a date, and I'm going to give you a time on when I'll be doing my next live stream. So make sure y'all look out for that. Make sure y'all look out for that. So that way you won't miss out on my live stream, an event that you want to participate in Why the Stepmoms Won't Step Up webinar. That'll be your time to interact with me live while I'm live streaming, and that way we can kind of give each other a lot more dialogue, and we can go more in depth with communicating with our husbands. Okay, so anyway, y'all, I'm going to get ready to shut it down because we're getting ready to go in an hour, and I know a lot of us got a short attention span. So I'm going to shut it down from here. And again, I thank y'all for being a part of the Why Stepmoms Won't Step Up movement. Thank you for subscribing to Mocha's Ladies Lounge. We're going to be discussing this. We're going to be breaking up many different elements. We're going to break it down to lowest common denominator. So again, just, make sure you're keeping up with the notifications. Any questions that you do have below, I'll be willing to answer them. So make sure you put them in the comment section. If I don't reply right away, just give me some time. If I don't address it in the comment section, I'll probably address it when I do my next series coming up. So you're more than free to ask me any questions regarding to communication only. So anyway, y'all, I'm gonna get ready to shut it down. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. If you know there are other women that are stepmothers that are also struggling with the toxic baby mama drama, send them to my channel. Send them the link, send it to their Facebook, send it to their emails, send it to what's the other one? I guess Twitter. They got so many different things out. Send it to them. Share the video. Again, for those who want to donate to my movement, please cash at me at Diamond Girl, $DYMONDGYRL. I would really appreciate it. Like I said, every little bit helps. My ultimate goal is to give you peace with your toxic baby mama. Even if she never wants to give you peace, you will have peace in dealing with her, and you will have peace in having a successful marriage, and her not having the abilities to be able to sabotage what God has brought together. So anyway, y'all, leave the comment below. Please let me know if there's more things you would like for me to address, if there was some points that you think I left out. I'm willing to take constructive criticism as long as it's respectful and it's logical. I don't have a problem with doing that. So all the bitter toxic baby mamas who want to come in my comment section talking reckless, I will boot you out. I will block you, and I will fix it to where you cannot come in my comment or in my chat room with your toxic energy. I'm not doing none of these bitter baby mamas, because I've experienced a few of y'all in the past when I first started to do this. And y'all want to come in, well, what about so-and-so? I do not care. When I'm ready to do a toxic baby mama webinar, I will let y'all know so y'all can join and y'all can cash out to my movement as well. But this is not for y'all. This is for women that are dealing with women like y'all. Okay? So anyway, y'all, it's your diva and knowledge lady, Mocha. Remember, I'm going to always pour you a cup of truth, and I'm going to always bake you off a slice of knowledge. Hit that like button before you leave, ladies. Take care.